Okay. Not yet.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate
you. Anybody use this?
Are you gonna sit right there and talk to me? Awesome.
If I had popcorn, I might throw it.
There's way too many people in here.
No. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm Josh Henderson, I'm the SharePoint administrator at OIT. This is Erica Seymore. She's the project manager for Campus Web Solutions, also OIT. So today we're going to talk about teams and how we, CWS really manages projects with teams. We're going to talk about this little overview. Who are we? What is teams? Why is it important? What can we do with it? What's CWS doing with it? And then we'll end with what's next for CWS and teams. This is me. Been a SharePoint administrator since 2009. Had MCSE in productivity and ITIL SO. Worked in DoD for a little while. And Braves lover, Little League coach, and love movies. So.
And I'm gonna be the comic relief because I don't have the certifications that he does. So I just said my certifications in spreading joy. That's my family. And then, yeah, I like to coach Little League soccer because it's fun. I've never played soccer, so I'm a proclaimed soccer coach. I don't really know anything about it. And I love Auburn, and I love working for Auburn. Oh, I'm supposed to talk about this. And I'm supposed to talk about this too. So Campus Web Solutions is a program that we have here in OIT. We have co-op students who work for us. So they work 3 semesters total. And so, but it's like on again, off again. They build web solutions, mobile. We have kiosk solutions, SharePoint, process automation. We're working towards augmented reality as well. Some of our clients are OBPR, athletics, school of nursing, just to name a few. So yeah, if you have any questions, shameless plug, if you have any questions about Campus Web Solutions or you need a custom solution made for you, come talk to me.
All right, so now we're going to get into Teams. I'm going to talk a little bit about what Teams is and what we can do with it, and Erica's going to talk about what CWS does with it. So right off the bat is Microsoft's, I hate to say version of Slack because that's kind of a dirty word for me now, but it's a collaboration hub. Like it's going to be, it's in the roadmap to be a Skype replacement. It's got persistent chat, video conferencing, it's built on SharePoint, so you've got the versioning, the certain capabilities. You can easily integrate with other systems like Salesforce, YouTube, Kayak, the list goes on. You can use it on everything, anywhere. I think I mixed those words up, but you can do it with anywhere on everything. So you can use it on your desktop as an application, whether it's PC or Mac. You can use it across the mobile apps, whether your iOS, Android, or Windows phone, whoever uses those anymore. And you can use it in any browser. I mean, basically, I haven't tested it in Opera, but I'm pretty sure it would probably work. Chrome, Internet Explorer, even Edge. So why is it important? So it's all about collaboration and context now. Things are going linear, not so hierarchical anymore. So you need to know what the context is, and that's one of my workflows pushing the teams right now. We're getting hit up on Twitter. So when let's say you drag a document in Teams, and a month later you find the document, but you don't know, oh man, why are we even looking at this document? Well, you can go back and look at the context in the conversation to see what y'all were talking about when the document came into play. You can easily work together with other people, with your partners, your teammates. External collaboration is a huge thing. You can have external collaborators from, especially if you're working with vendors on events like this one, or consultants or research partners, for instance, which is a big thing for us. Other things we can do with Teams. Anything, right? So you can create and manage projects with Planner or Smartsheet or other things. You can use it to store, collaborate, and search documents. You can chat privately or with your team, again, in context. You can view, update relevant data in Jira, Salesforce. You can use Poly for real-time polling, take notes, like a OneNote or Evernote. You can hang dashboards and policies and tabs. You can even use it to initiate Zoom meetings like this one. That probably would have been a good demonstration. And like it says, the list goes on. I mean, the possibilities are really endless. You can also develop your own applications to stick in here. So if you need if you have custom APIs for your custom solution, you can create those and use Teams to facilitate the front end. For instance, the chatbot would be a good example. So you can start it from anywhere, right? So let's say you're in a team in channel 42 of this team or whatever, and you're like, oh man, I need to talk to Erica. Well, instead of having to go back out to chat, I can just type Erica up in the chat, in the command prompt up there, and go to town, start talking to her. And we need to bring somebody else in, no problem. We can just click the add contact and start talking to 2 people. And we're like, oh man, let's get together and see face to face on this one, so we can open up the video chat right there. You can have up to 50, I think it's up to 50. It's 50 or more, but it's 50 video conference sessions at once, or people at once. So we can bring it all together, right? So you have a team, you have different channels for teams. You can create tabs all across each channel, and you can use, and these are just some of the tabs you can use to hang things. So let's say you have a bunch of training videos and you put them in Stream or YouTube. You can hang the channel for Stream or YouTube in a tab so people can view the training. You can create Power Apps or Microsoft Forms or custom forms and put them in a tab. You can hang a single document, you create dashboards to put in there. It really is a hub for communication. And now you want to extend your team's capabilities. So we have tons of enterprise solutions. We have Jira, we've got Smartsheet, which you just heard about. We've got SharePoint, we've got ServiceNow is one. You can integrate all these tools into this one place and create bots. Yeah, you can do bots. Asana is a big one, Wunderlist, all these. You can connect to all these things to do workflows, to create incidents, to complete incidents, to chat with your customers to complete an incident.
Josh.
Yes.
Are we Cisco WebEx? It's
Um,
on the list, but are we as well?
we as an Auburn University? No.
No,
This is
not yet.
yeah, I did this as a,
Can you repeat the question?
yeah, so she asked if we could use WebEx at Auburn University. I did this as a holistic, non-organizational, anyway, yeah, whatever, not Auburn University. And so now we're going to talk about CWS and how they use it.
So CWS uses this Teams as, it's pretty elementary level right now. We incorporated it during the fall, actually, so our students are still trying to get accustomed to actually using this every day and remembering to get on there and when I chat them to respond to me. So we're trying to get them all accustomed to it. They do a pretty good job. So we use it in creating and managing teams and channels for projects. You can store and collaborate documents on those. You can chat privately with your team, create to-do lists, so like a Kanban board. And then when I'm in meetings and my students need to get in touch with me for some reason, they can message me in Teams and I can get it even while I'm in meetings. So I don't have to actually be at my desk to answer a question for them. So that's kind of how we're using it right now. So I'm going to just kind of briefly go through like creating channels and teams and stuff like that, but then I'm actually going to do a demo and show you how to do that as well. So creating teams, you can add teams, add and remove members. You can add channels to each team. It's very simple to do. And then creating your channels, you can add and remove members again, add files, have conversations. You can actually send emails. So and I'll show you how to do that as well, but each channel has an email address. So you can actually forward emails into a channel. So sometimes I do that with our correspondence between clients when I need for the, if it's something to do with the project we're working on and I need for the team members to know what's going on, I can forward those emails into channels so that all the correspondence is in one place. Like I said, you can create to-do lists, surveys, and polls. And then going forward, we hope to be able to implement Jira and Smartsheet as well into Teams. So those are just different ways that we use them and are going to be using them. As I said, a file manager, you can have files per channel, so it allows you to keep all the files in context with projects. So for each project, we have a statement of work and a contract, and then there'll be other files maybe that go along with whatever it is that the project is that they're working on. All those files are going to be within the channel that belongs to that project. But then there's a file manager specific to each user as well. So I have a file manager, and that's what these two different, you can't really see them very well. I'll show you once we get into Teams, but this here is going to be within the actual project, and then this is the file manager that belongs just to me, so it's files that I have but nobody else can see. You can chat privately or with team. So these are genuinely 4 different ways to have discussions. So you can have a group discussion, so like a group chat. You can privately chat with people, but then within a team, you can chat within each team, but then also within each channel. So you can keep the conversation in a channel specific to a project, but then within each team, if there's something that I need to tell all of my students within that team, I can message them there, and they get the notifications for all these things. So it's just the different ways. So now I'm gonna actually go on here and show you. So I'm gonna create a team really quick. Okay, let's say that doesn't pop up when I do that. Okay, so we're just gonna make one for Tech Talks. And you can make them private. You can also make them public. Typically, you're gonna keep them private. And then you can add a description if you wanna add a description. I typically do that for channels more specifically when I wanna put a description in. And then you can create, and then it just creates the team. So then you can start adding people. Wait, this is yours. Add myself to it. So add myself to this, and you can go back. So you see here, the team's been created. I can actually go back in and add members from here as well. So I don't have to necessarily add them at the beginning when we create a team. And then you've got your, so general is the only channel that's currently there, but then you go right here and you can add a channel. So we can add a channel, so we'll just make it. And again, there's the description, and that's typically where I put descriptions because the teams are pretty self-explanatory as the name of the team, at least the way I use it. So then we'll add a channel. So now I've got a channel for 2018 Tech Talks. So here, this is your channel conversation here, and then here you can have the team conversation, which is in general. So you can add files, and that's super easy to do as well. So you can just drag and drop a file in. And there's your file right there, and that's going to be specific, like I said, to this channel and to the members of the team. Here's where you can click add-ons and add in Planner, which is the to-do list, or your Kanban board. That's typically the only way we've really used it a whole lot right now, because like I said, we're kind of in the elementary stages of how we use it. And then over here, so here's your file manager that's going to be specific to you. And then again, your teams, and then chatting, whereas this is just the chat, and then, but you also can make a group chat. So you can have private chats and group chats within the chat sessions. So. Oh, okay. You good? Okay.
So I think it's important to note here when she's talking about teams and creation, either I missed the slide or skimmed over it, but something important to note is when you create a team, you also create a SharePoint site in Office 365. or SharePoint Online, and a O365 group. So currently we have at Auburn University, we have an on-prem AD, right? So we don't have in the security groups and groups in general are not synced to Office 365. So when you create this, you can consider that, like this, for instance, this was intro to SharePoint. That would actually be an Office 365 group, and I can use that the same way I would use an AD group on premise. Does that make sense? So, and so anywhere in the Office 365 world, I can use that group to share a document. I can use that group for permissions in SharePoint. I can talk to that group just as if it was a group on-prem. Yes.
So can anybody read or create one of those groups, like any user?
I believe up until very recently, yes. Right now, I don't believe they can. It was restricted recently for IT providers.
On the distributed IT list currently has the ability to create groups.
Which also, yeah.
Yes, groups, teams, it's all underpinned by the same bit. And that was the way to go ahead and allow the students only licensing work with participants without having to worry so much about them creating thousands of useless standing groups.
Yeah, which we do. We're working on. Yeah. All right. Man, there's something else I wanted to show you in there. All right, I'll think of it in a minute. But anyway, so to keep on going, what's next for CWS and Teams? We're just going to start doing more and more, get deeper and deeper with project management, right? So we've got Jira's on the way. We're going to be using Jira for agile development. We're using Smartsheet, like Zane was just talking about in the last session, for high-level project reporting and management. And so we'll be trying to figure out how to interact with those two enterprise solutions with Teams to keep all the data congruent and the same across all the boards. Yes.
What made you go to Jira for agile?
QA is a QA tool, and it was their choice of their software choice. So, okay. So, any questions? Yes.
Erica, you said you were going to show how to send an email to the team.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I knew there was something else that I was going to do. Sorry.
Good call.
Thank you. Okay, so.
Calling you out.
Do what?
It's calling you out.
I know. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so within each team, like I said, and channel, if I click on the little buttons there and get email address, it populates the email address, and then you just copy it basically, and then you can forward the emails, and there's your email address that was made, and send it. And then it may take it a second, but it'll show up. There it is. So it shows up within the conversation area. So like I said, then you actually are able to keep emails that are specific to a project. That's how I use it. So that if my students need to see something, my developers need to see something that that they need to add to a project or work with a project or whatever, then it's in Teams and better tracking.
Are all teams searchable?
Oh yeah.
Can you look for all teams?
You can look for public teams. Any team
Only
that
public.
any team that you're a member of or owner of, or public, you can search for those.
So they're not going to roll out naming conventions for teams.
I don't believe so. That may be way down the road, but I don't believe so.
They're doing that?
Yeah, no, yeah.
And then within files too, you have a folder with email messages. So all the email messages are in a folder as well once you move them in there.
Can anybody email that?
If they have the email
If they
address,
have-
yes. Oh, that's another thing. So you can hide the email. So just FYI. That's important. Yes.
As far as the teams go, and using this as project management, I'm curious. You got your team list. You could use your channels as basically projects, right?
Correct.
You've got your to-do list, all the different tabs you can add.
Right.
So you could have an entire department as a team, and then could you have like, say 3 or 4 people are a part of one team within that team? You do that?
Currently, you can't do it per channel. Permissions, is that what you're asking?
No, I mean like you've got your team, and you have like subgroups in that team.
No.
That's
forthcoming. It's supposed to be rolling out sometime. That's the number one thing on the user voice to get done. So that's coming. But
So
yeah,
it might be good to.
a team per
For your
project.
whole department, you could have separate teams in the overall department.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now let's fast forward a little bit and let's say we have that permissions per channel. It would be a better solution for you if you're going to keep it long term to have the team and then a project per. That way you can. It's easier to facilitate because you get an email per channel. Right. So.
Might sidebar.
Yeah.
We showed them to do the follow, and we had teams or members of, but then we did the follow, it actually alerts you of messaging inside.
Yeah. So he's talking about, so by default, you don't follow all your channels. So to get activity, that way they don't spam your activity. So if you want to follow a channel, you click the, I don't know, ellipse-y, whatever you call it. And then you, I have it as a favorite, like this one. So I would unfavorite. And I would just click the star to favorite it. Oh, sorry, that's favorite. That's to show it. Follow this channel. So when I follow this channel, I'll start getting activity for that channel in my activity feed. I think that's what he's talking about.
Now, does this work with chats also? You get notified with a chat versus a channel?
No. If you're chatting with someone, you're gonna get notified no matter what because you're chatting specifically with a person.
But all it does is blink lights, not how do you figure out how to make it ding or notify you of some way besides just a blink light?
Yeah, it does ding. I also get, if I'm not in Teams, I also get an email notification eventually. Yeah, it also sends a toaster. As soon as you get a message, you get a toaster. So
I have the app on my phone too, so I get notifications on my phone if I get a chat because I have Teams downloaded on my phone.
real quick, this is a live project we're working on with Planner, and you get it's got a built-in chart metrics, so you can see all the tasks that we've got and who they're assigned to and who's working on them. So that's kind of cool. Any other questions?
Question from afar is once you start to reply in their conversations, just have to, I think it's next. It's like if you're replying to somebody, if you actually hit the reply button, it stays underneath
Right.
the actual entry. So that's quite useful.
Yeah.
It keeps everything kind of together in context.
Yeah, even more in context, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So when you're in a team, what he's saying about a conversation. Let's say you're chatting with your whole team, and you see how in a team channel you're going to get whoever you just spoke to, and then a reply underneath. To make sure you're responding to that person about that specific topic, you can click reply, and that way they keep it in context. Thank you.
Is that promotion and 10-year workflow going to be something for everybody?
Yeah. Eventually, yeah.
If, let's say a user doesn't have Teams, and you go ahead and click a little chat button to them and send them a message, will they get
An email.
an email? If they click it, it will go right to the web, or is it going to force them to download the app?
The email is going to send them to a web browser, and it's going to let them log in from there. And if they log in, it'll go straight to their conversation. But they will have the opportunity before they go there to download it. In that case, if they download it, obviously it won't go to the conversation, but they can continue forward.
You have the ability to, like, for example, with the project breakdown there for that project you're working on, do you have the ability to share specific parts of information, even if it's a private group to an outside person, so if you want to share that online, and then just see that awesome.
That's a good question. Like you can add. I think this goes back to the per channel permissions. So if you have access to the team right now, until they roll that out, you're going to have access to the team. Right. So you're gonna have access to what's here. So I would have to say, yeah, if you give an external member access to the team, they're gonna have access to what they can look at.
Are there any differences in the UI regarding an @Auburn email address or an @TigerMail?
Oh yes, well,
Because I have
minimal.
both,
Yeah,
so-
it's minimal. You'll see. One thing I noticed. Well,
I
okay,
have
there's
both, and I can't log in with my Auburn. I have to do
Yes, I
@TigerMail.
have to use the Tiger.
right.
Yes.
Yeah. So besides that part of it,
Yeah.
the UI, you're gonna have a calendar
Okay.
on your left side because it uses Office 365 or Exchange Online, which has a calendar available. As an Auburn.edu employee, we're not going to have that available yet until we get rolled up. Now, another thing I noticed that somebody mentioned earlier this week is if you're TigerMail, you're going to see a change picture right here under your picture. And we don't have that option. We have to go to our account to change our picture.
So we don't have the option to choose to use the Auburn @Auburn. We have
No,
to
if you're an
use
employee, yeah, you got to use whichever one. Yeah,
Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be that way.
Okay.
not yet anyway. Yeah, yeah, it's forthcoming. So we'll see. Anything else? Any other questions?
No. Josh, Erica, thanks.